Hi there, welcome to Draw With Me. I'm Danny Gregory. Every Thursday we get together and we screw around, we do some drawing, we chat about stuff, and invariably I'm joined by JJ Gregory. Hello.
Hello. Thursday, yay.
Yay. So spring has sprung, definitely, right?
Oh, yeah.
Those flowers.
We enjoyed seeing that cavalcade. It's the best time of the year.
It really is. So we're also doing some spring cleaning around here.
Much needed.
And we're having our house painted inside and out.
Much needed. Not just painted, but they have to repair. Like we had some wooden facade pieces that were so debased. I mean, they were literally crumbling off. And it's funny when you live in you can kind of tune it out. And now that they've been doing a lot of sanding and putting in new pieces and they're going to start painting today. We're so excited. It's sort of our anniversary present to each other.
It's true. I mean, we moved into this house. We moved into this house kind of abruptly.
During the pandemic.
Yeah, we bought it abruptly, so all this stuff has never been taken care of, and now we are. We have no idea actually when they last painted it. Could have been, I don't know. This house is pretty old. Yeah.
Decades ago. So So that's what's happening at the Gregory house. So if you hear some loud noises,
yeah, exactly. That's why
it's not the leaf blowers today.
No, today it's the compressors or something.
Power washers. No, they're actually going to be putting down the primer on the exterior today. So that is cool.
It's exciting. But
yes.
So yesterday we met with the members who like to participate in Draw With Me again.
Yes, I see a lot of friendly faces from yesterday.
Yeah, so that's a new program that we just started last week. And every Wednesday we get together and we draw again. And we call it again because what we're doing is we're going back through all of the huge archive of past episodes that we have of Draw With Me. We have
5 years.
5 years, so I don't know, there's almost 300, I think. And we're going back and we're pulling out an old topic and we're revisiting it and we're drawing it again, which is really, really nice. It's like getting an opportunity to do it again.
Yeah, juice the lemon.
Juice the lemon, exactly. So one thing that we're also doing is we're asking that group to help us come up with a topic for today's session, which is nice because it means less work for us.
Yeah. Thanks for lightening the load.
Yeah, so the topic that we came up with yesterday was musical instruments.
I think it's a really good one.
I think it's really good. I don't know that we've ever done it before. We've drawn the occasional musical instruments, but
it's like part of a collection of things.
Yeah, so we've got 9 musical instruments that we're going to work on today. And that is, we have roughly 45 minutes. We have a little bit more, but
so get ready to so commit your pen and go fast and furious.
But it's difficult, I have to say.
It is.
I mean, musical instruments, they have these curves to them that are, so don't get too crazy when you worry about proportions and the exact angles. You got to just go with it. So I was debating today which size pen I want to use. Should I use a big one? Should I use a small one? I think I'm going to use a bigger one just because it's going to force me not to
fiddle.
Yeah, not to get too detailed. So I'm using an 06, which is pretty big. But I do have an 02 standing by just in case I want to add some stuff in. And my sketchbook isn't that big, so I have, I'm not sure how this is going to work.
So how many total? Remind me.
We have 9, so 5 minutes apiece, 45 minutes. So I've set a timer, and after 5 minutes, it'll go off. And so we'll see. You'll have to see how your pace is. And we have all different kinds. We have wind instruments, we have wood string instruments, all kinds.
So you may want to take a photo of the reference if you think you might want to.
Yeah, just do a screen grab.
Do a different pace. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're watching the recording, obviously, then you can just pause it.
Yeah, right.
But we are going to go fast and furious. I'm going to see if there's time. My fantasy is that I'll throw in a splash of watercolor on each one. We'll see if that's possible.
We shall see.
We will indeed. Let's get into it and start going. Okay. So 5 minutes.
Are you doing the timer or am I
doing the timer?
Okay. I'm just here to.
You're just here to look pretty.
Thank you, babe.
You got it. All right, here we go. So the first one is a violin. And yeah. So I'm just kind of doing almost like blind contour at this point, because the part that I'm worried about is the body of this thing.
Really? The body and not the neck?
No, the neck I'm not concerned about, because the neck is just a matter of measuring. It's the curves that I'm a little bit worried about. So the curves are, yeah. But I'm just not going to make myself crazy about it. See, because it bows out differently at the bottom than it does at the top half. Is a different. Already feeling a bit of dread and anxiety around it, but
did you practice?
I've drawn this before. I've drawn violins before, so yeah. Actually, that's not bad. I kind of got.
I mean, I think also like the wonkiness makes it cool.
Yeah, it's interesting though, when you get the curves slightly different, it really changes the character of it.
Turns it into a viola.
It can become more matronly.
Or bass, a stand-up bass.
I mean, I think a cello, a stand-up bass, a violin, I don't know, I'm not a musician, but I think they're all pretty similar in shape. Now, what instruments have you played? You played the flute at one point, right?
I played the instrument I probably played the best and the longest is the piano, which seems to have somewhat evaporated from my brain.
Which ironically is the one instrument that we own.
Yeah, we actually have the piano that I played growing up, because when we moved to Phoenix, we were liquidating my mother's house. But I did in like 5th and 6th grade band play the flute. Now, I don't know if that counts as playing the flute. I would never say that it did.
But what's it like playing the band, flute in the band?
You know what? It was really fun. I don't know how many other, people did it, like dabbled in it as a kid. I absolutely loved it. I loved the band teacher that we had. I was not particularly good at it.
Now, that's not Sandy who married your brother, is it?
No. The band teacher was different than the music teacher. But the experience of being in the band, you get these kids, like a sort of random assortment of kids, and I think I kind of don't remember if you even got to choose our instrument or how that worked, because I remember the kid that was like my one close friend, she sort of randomly got on the clarinet.
So they just hand them out to you? Like,
no. You had to have your own, but I don't know. Did you get a choice? I kind of don't, because I'm not sure would I have picked the flute. I honestly don't remember.
So they're like, "Hey, you're a big fat kid. Here's the tuba."
I hope that was not the case. But back in the 70s and 80s, we were definitely a lot less PC about things. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I wish I had taken it further.
The flute. Yeah, I guess the flute's okay. It's not my favorite band instrument.
I mean, I feel like when you hear a flutist who really has mastery of the instrument, it's a pretty different. I mean, probably much like any, but it's the kind of thing that I don't know how much you perceive the flute solo unless it's like a dedicated
flute concerto. Or
yeah, exactly.
Like that,
yeah. So I feel like it is sort of a supporting member of the symphony orchestra, but
I think there's also just like a lot of kind of music I don't love that uses a flute. Jethro Tull, for instance. It's used in jazz. There's a few jazz flautists. It's never seemed like that much.
So now there is a debate over whether the correct term is flautist, which I think at one time everybody thought it was. I do believe it's flutist.
Well, I'm going to flout convention and call it a flautist.
Jay Rivet is taking drumming lessons.
I see that. That is interesting, and that's we experienced that because my son was doing drumming lessons at one point. And you got to really love your kid if you allow him to play drum.
But Jay Rivet says taking drumming lessons in my old age, which I think is very kick-ass.
It is, yes. Don't break a wrist or something. But all right, time's up.
Ding dong.
I feel okay.
Honestly,
my
I think
pace-
that's a very respectable,
respectable, right?
rendition. Yeah.
All right, here we go
Kinda
with the
proud of
next
you.
one. Let's go with the next one.
All right. What do you got? What do you got?
Okay, what do we got? We got next is saxophone.
Oof, that's going to be hard.
That's a complicated one.
Oh, boy.
But just I'm going to try and move quickly because I'm just not going to get overly persnickety about this. I'm just going to do it, man. Boy, I would love to play the saxophone, though. Man, that would be. I mean, I could follow so many great saxophonists. You know, Dexter Gordon, Charlie Parker, Bill Clinton. You know, there's just.
So my one and only nephew, who we talk about frequently on this show, he kind of went all the way with marching band, like all the way through high school and maybe even into college. But he played the bari sax, which was like
What's that?
it was bigger.
Oh, baritone.
Yes, yeah, and it was pretty cool. I have to imagine that's like kind of it's a commitment to do in a marching band scenario because it's probably
It's a
pretty
big
heavy.
thing to carry,
Yeah.
And he was a little guy.
He's not the biggest guy. My family are not tall people.
Where you come from, leprechauns.
It's true. I'm 5'5", and you know, when I was growing up, in my family, everyone talked about how like huge I was, like how massively tall. And then I got out in the real world, and I was like, those were lies. Those were lies told to me. But no, my mother was like under 5 feet.
She was really?
I think she was like, she said she was 5 feet, but maybe if she poofed her hair up.
I don't really think. I mean, I guess I never think about how tall she is.
She's, as you say, a leprechaun, borderline leprechaun.
I think moving fast is the answer, honestly. A lot of times I would say go slowly because there's all these details, but I think when it comes to the curves and stuff like that, it helps to move fast. At least it helped me. I may have left out a lot of keys, but I'm okay with that. I don't have to play it, I just have to draw it. Boy, there's a lot of like stuff. This must be an expensive instrument, I would imagine, just because of the sheer amount of
I mean, I think,
gizmos.
but I think with most instruments, I think this is true across the board. You can get, just like art supplies, like a beginner level version and, you know, the most exquisite, rarefied things. So I think you can get.
I mean, if it's a band instrument, it can't be that expensive. But
Well, yeah.
But even so, it's like a piece of, I guess, like a clock or something. It has all these moving parts, and you know, they've all got to fit properly. I don't know. Are there any musicians in here today with us?
I think we have a good number, but I think people are heads down trying to keep up with the pace of your drawing. So, although one person did put in the chat that they believe it is flautist, so I'm just not sure. Maybe it's okay either way.
You know, this is something I haven't done, but I really should. We have an incredible museum here in Phoenix, which is called the Museum of
Musical Instrument Museum, or the MIM,
Yeah, the musical instrument, and we go there for concerts all the time. But they have an insane collection of instruments from all over the world.
Honestly, if you ever find yourself traveling to Phoenix,
It's one of the highlights.
I would say it's the one thing you must not miss. There's nothing like it elsewhere that I've ever seen.
I think it's like literally the only musical instrument museum.
Yeah, I mean it's so impressive on so many different levels. One, the collection is extensive and they do special exhibits that are extraordinary, but the love and care that went into putting it together from a curatorial perspective is just, it's next level. And it's
a lot of it was one guy's collection,
well, yeah,
and then he donated the money to build the museum, basically.
is it?
Yeah.
Was it like a Walmart person or something like that? Like somebody that had legacy
some
money.
Gazillionaire, but he loved musical instruments, and he collected. I mean, like and a lot of it's divided by countries. So there's like a whole room of just African instruments divided by each individual country, and I mean, there's just so much of it. They have a whole room of like mechanical instruments, like hurdy-gurdies and what are they called? Like
Klezmers and. But it's also parts of it are interactive. I mean, it's just honestly, we could talk the whole show about this place.
yeah.
Just know
Super
if you
cool.
come to Phoenix, the MIM,
But
as
I've
we
never
call it,
drawn
should
there,
be on your list.
and I'm definitely going to go try that. Okay, so there we go. We got that sax down. Sax.
Dang,
down.
babe.
Yeah, I know. We got it.
That looks good.
Thank you. All
Yeah,
right, so now-
you're like.
Yeah, we're doing it. So okay, here's a piano. Let me just move me. So here we have a grand piano.
The piano.
I think I'm going to make it small.
Jen says, that was 5 minutes already. I mean, seriously now. Woo!
What are you people doing? Come on, let's go.
You're going so, I mean, you always go quickly, but this is.
Let's get a metronome. Yeah, I'm sorry. It is this was super ambitious, but
Yeah, this is, I mean, honestly, it's a little masochistic. Now, what kind of piano is this? It doesn't look like a Steinway. It doesn't look like a Yamaha.
it's
Those are really the two concert pianos that are most commonly found.
this is a special one that was designed for stock photography.
Is it AI?
No, it's not. This is an actual. It has a name, and it's for some reason written on the side of it, which is kind of ugly. I've never seen that before. I've kind of put it so close to the edge of the page that unfortunately I may be losing some of the keys.
So a friend of ours, we were having a Zoom call with her, and she lives in Pennsylvania. I can't remember the name of the town that she's in, but they had the most incredible old like stone farmhouse from, I want to say from like the 1700s. Like it was one of the original houses in that area. And late in life, her and her husband, they sold it and they bought this kind of like a commercial office building. And they have an art foundation, which is another story we'll tell you a different time. It's very cool. And so the commercial building has like 3 levels, and they're making one of the floors their own apartment. So it's very loft-like. Like imagine Soho in New York, in the 80s, like a raw space. And it's utterly massive. I think she said like their living space alone was like 33,000 square feet. So
It was 33,000.
it was something massive. So like they could have a roller skating rink in here. But anyway, so she was kind of using her phone camera to show us around the space, and she pointed it, and it was like it wasn't a full, it was a baby grand piano, but it looked.
We were like, what is that tiny thing over there? Oh, it's
like
a grand piano
like, yeah,
on the other side of the
because the room is so huge.
That was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Damn, this is another complicated instrument. Should have just done like the recorder.
I mean, wasn't the recorder fun? I really feel I have fond memories of.
Well, I only knew one song that we learned to play on the recorder, and I can still play it.
That's cool.
Ode to Joy. Beethoven's Ninth. It's not a cool instrument. It's not like you're gonna.
Well, it's a beginner thing,
I
right?
guess so, yeah. Or
Again, cheap and
medieval,
cheerful.
or medieval. Right? Don't you think of it as like
Like a lute.
yeah, it goes with that sort of.
All right, Rebecca took the time to Google.
And
She said Wendell and Lung piano. It says it's based in Vienna.
oh, okay, good. So it is. Well, that's respectable.
Honestly, it looks beautiful.
I mean, Vienna. It's funny to think that Steinway is made in, is it the Bronx or Queens?
I don't know the answer to
Yeah.
that.
All right, we're running out of time. Yeah, this is a little distorted, but it's probably because I was trying to wedge it into the corner of the page.
Yeah, you kind of cut off the side.
Yeah, it's kind of
choice.
sliding off. Sliding off. It's okay. I have 4 seconds to spare.
Ding!
All right. I have to have a sip of coffee if we're going to move at this pace.
I mean, you are doing an incredible job, I have to say.
I appreciate that.
Violet's asking
Okay.
what happened to your left ring fingernail. Yeah.
Oh, this?
Closed it in the car door.
It was caused by a dog.
Danny is not the most coordinated human you would ever meet.
Hey, let's see you draw a piano. Okay, here we go. We're going to restart this timer. Okay, so what do we got? We got an accordion. Your favorite instrument?
I can't say that I'm the biggest fan. And in fact, when Danny showed me this reference, I tried to object to it, but he really stood by that it is going to be fun to draw.
First of all, I like the sound of the accordion.
You had a father-in-law.
I did have a father-in-law. I had my first father-in-law was Mickey. He was an accordionist.
And it was like a Polish band, right?
It wasn't a band. It
was wasn't?
It was just a man standing in the basement playing for the one person who would listen to him, namely me. Yeah. He told me, I said to him, like, why did you pick up the accordion? And he said that he'd really wanted to play the piano, but his family couldn't afford it. And so the accordion is like a, more affordable version of it. It seems in some ways more difficult, though, than playing a piano, just because you have to, you can't even really see the keys. You have to kind of do it by feel. And you have to pump. And a lot of the music is pretty dubious.
Few people have mentioned Zydeco, Cajun and Zydeco, which is also heavy on the accordion. Is very.
That's much cooler.
Yeah, it is cooler. Let's be
polka.
honest. I mean, there's a time and a place for a polka.
For rolling out the barrel. For having a barrel of fun. Yeah. I think it's just not, there's also the Irish version of it.
And a few people have popped in the chat talking about
the squeeze box.
Violet said Irish and Newfoundland music.
Oh, yeah. Well, I love Newfoundland music. I mean, who doesn't?
All right. And Reese says, another curiosity, here in Brazil, we have another type of accordion that is called a sanfona.
Oh, that's interesting.
Sanfona. That is a great name.
Sanfona.
And that artist dreamer said, here in my little town, there is an accordion museum. So many brands, old but absolutely lovely pieces. All right, so you were right. The accordion is a heartwarming choice.
Yeah, I also said it would be interesting to draw. It is quite interesting to look at. And, there's another thing, which is the French accordion. That I think is, don't you remember when we were in France and there was that guy playing in the street when we went to visit Jean Christophe?
No, I don't remember that.
I made a video of it. This guy playing sort of Edith Piaf kind of music.
I was going to say, was it sort of like
it's like La Vie en Rose.
Django Reinhardt kind of thing?
Well, yeah, sort of. I mean, Django Reinhardt doesn't play the accordion, but some of
But that type of music.
Yeah, that gypsy jazz.
So Italian NYC says, accordion always reminds me of Weird Al.
Weird Al Yankovic.
Yes.
Whose father was a really famous accordionist. What was his name? Frankie Yankovic. He was, I mean, in the 50s, there were quite a lot of,
Oh, dear.
Oh, no. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's pounding and scraping.
A little hammering, a little scraping.
All right, so this was actually, I'm going to put in a little name here. This is called the Scarlatti.
No, are you talking, you're talking about I thought you were going for the Sanfoni.
The Scarlatti is the name of this particular brand of accordion.
So Drew said we have an instrument called harmonium, which is like a horizontal accordion.
Well, that's one. Is that the one that you blow in? It has like a tube that you blow in.
Interesting.
Yeah, it has like a little. I think so. You blow in it, and then you play the little keyboard.
Like a bagpipe?
Sort of, yeah, kind of like a bagpipe, except with keys. I tried to look for a good bagpipe. The problem with the bagpipe is if somebody isn't playing it, it looks very weird. It's collapsed. It looks like laundry. It looks like laundry and plumbing. So, all right. I'm actually done with this, and now I'm kind of running out of things to draw on it. It turned out to be easier than I thought.
You're going to make...
I am going to hit these up with some watercolor later on. Why not? But, yeah. See, this is what happens is when you get this is just too much time, and I started getting fiddly and putting in too many details and scritchy lines. But accordion to the clock, we are running out of time.
There's something really perverse about you finishing that complicated drawing early.
There we go. Perversion notwithstanding.
It kind of sounds like a triangle, the sound of your ding dong.
Well, should we spend 5 minutes drawing a triangle? No. Okay, let's look at the next one, which is a drum kit. Drum kit. All right, I'm going to restart the timer so we have the full thing, and here we go. I think I'm going to draw a little tiny drum kit in here. Well, we have 9 minutes. We have 9 drawings, and I've done 5. I mean 4. So, yeah, I think I'll just...
People are into the drums.
I have drawn the drums before a couple times because, as I said, Jack...
How are you? You're not going to put him in that tiny... Oh, okay. I thought you were going to put him in that tiny little corner.
Yeah, I was going to, but then I changed my mind.
Yeah. Yeah,
so Jack played the drums, and I would go to the drum lessons.
I mean...
And I would just sit there.
I feel like, how does a New York apartment accommodate a kid playing the drums?
Because we had like a set of like digital drums from to practice on.
So you use headphones?
Yeah.
Is that kind of the thing? I see.
And they also have like practice drums that have like, they don't have the skins, so you can just practice your rhythms and stuff.
I see.
Yeah, he was in a band. They were called...
The Peeps Rock.
The Peeps. And, for some reason they were really into playing classic rock. So you had like a bunch of 11-year-olds playing like Cream and Led Zeppelin and stuff like that, yeah. As if that music wasn't bad enough, they had to have 11-year-olds playing it. Sorry to all of you who are Led Zeppelin fans.
Joe is mentioning Neil Peart, who is...
Never heard of him.
People who come to draw with me may be aware that I still remain a tremendous fan of the band Rush, which is...
We went to see Rush for some reason. I put up with that. We went to see Rush at Madison Square Garden.
We sure did.
And there were, I don't know...
50,000
middle-aged men with ponytails and JJ.
I'm a tremendous fan of Rush. I think they're...
That was like their last...
So talented, and yeah.
It's like their last concert, I think, that we saw, right?
Well, sadly, Neil has since
put away his
departed the earth.
Yeah. I just heard Tom Sawyer in my head, which is not something I normally would do, but something about drawing this drum kit. It's making him come alive in my head.
Geddy Lee said people sometimes say he sounds like a rabid squirrel when he sings. And particularly on that intro to Tom Sawyer, like the first, it's real.
Shrieking.
It's
nasal. Yeah, we read his memoir.
I'm not sure we read it.
I did. I read about half of it.
I see.
And then I was like, okay, I got it. Because the thing about them is they weren't particularly wild.
They were not wild. They're nice Canadian boys.
Yeah, it was like sort of like, yeah. Yeah, so there weren't really like a lot of good stories. Like
There were so many good stories. It's an incredible book, Geddy Lee's memoir. I think there's been more than one, but I think it came out 2 years ago, and it is called My Effin' Life.
I objected to that vulgarity in the title.
It's fantastic.
Did not get this part right. Now I made it worse by fixing it. I think you can get away with a fair amount of mistakes when you're doing some of these musical instruments.
Well, I think you can when you're doing them in 5 minutes or less.
Well, I just mean that nobody really knows what these things look like. So, like nobody's going to look at my sax and go, "Hold on a second, that's the E flat key, and it should actually be up 1/8 of an inch." But there might. We'll see. If you do have any such things and you're thinking about putting them to the comments, don't. All right. Here we go. I think it's time to recaffeinate.
I mean...
Yeah, here we go.
You've earned it.
All right.
All right, what's next?
Okay, so this is a bass guitar.
Also a Geddy Lee connection.
Did he? Yeah, well, I guess he played the bass, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, so the bass. You know, I did play the bass in a band for one night.
That doesn't count, babe. Were you filling in for somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I have a vague memory of you telling me this story.
I played in a club with a band that actually went on to be moderately famous much later after I was no longer in it.
It just goes to show you don't have to have a lot of talent to play the bass.
Well, not only that, but they actually didn't plug in my bass. The keyboard player just kind of filled in for me.
So you were just there for your looks?
I looked great. I had the moves. I had those moves.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, in fact, the band, which was called, the Speedies. And the Speedies...
Were they on drugs?
No, we were teenagers. We were like 16.
I mean, I don't think that precludes drugs.
No, we weren't on drugs. They were called the Speedies, and one of the things about them was that their fans would bring sugar frosted cereal to the events and throw them at them.
My goodness.
Yeah. It wasn't like Tom Jones where women throw their underwear. It was more just like kids throwing Lucky Charms.
Cocoa Puffs?
Yeah, exactly. And that was, I love Lucky Charms.
So did you jump around on stage, like trying to catch them in your mouth?
I was the bass player. I was just standing there looking cool in the background. If you're the bass player, you don't jump around.
But
it's kind of a rule.
I mean, I think if you're actually playing the bass, maybe not. But if you're posturing, it could be really cool to like.
But then nobody would think that I was doing it.
That's true. the illusion.
I
The
mean,
veil the curtain would be
it's
broken.
like Sid Vicious. Did Sid Vicious actually play the bass? I don't really think so.
I doubt it. I think he was pretty messed up most of the time.
Yeah. So, strangely, the Eric Hofford, who was the lead in our band, he went on to invent QuickTime. You know what QuickTime is, right?
Yeah.
A QuickTime player,
like
you have it on your Mac?
Yeah.
Yeah, he invented that. Eric Hofford, look him up. It's true. In fact, they used one of the Speedy songs in a commercial. I think it was for HP, about 35 years after the band ceased to exist.
Sounds like he had a bit of a charmed existence.
Yeah? Did you look him up?
No.
Oh.
Just saying, those are pretty big accomplishments.
I'm not sure which is the biggest. All right, I think I'm done.
Rashadul is asking, what's your opinion on post-punk music?
You know, I like punk music better, but I think, I like it all.
I mean, you love ska music probably more than anything else.
I do I love jazz.
You love jazz.
More than anything else, but yeah.
But like Madness,
Sure.
the Specials,
Sure.
I feel like those are the kind of, like, if you really want to hear Danny's music, that would be like for sure on your playlist.
Desert Island Discs. In fact, I got Terry Hall from the Specials to do a track for a commercial I did once. That was like the highlight of my advertising career.
Lisa is asking, do you know Les Wampus?
No.
Les Wampus?
No, I don't. Is it a medical condition?
Don't know. I didn't even pronounce it right. Les Wampus. Okay.
I know more pompous.
French punk rock psychobilly band
No, that sounds cool.
who refer more exactly to their music as Yay Yay Punk. They were formed in Paris in 1983. They sound cool. We'll check it out.
Yeah. All right, are we ready for the next?
I do believe no rest for the I wouldn't call this crowd wicked.
Wicked good, man. All right, here we go. So this is JJ objected to us doing this one, thinking that it was too much like the bass, but I think it's
You were like,
kinda
it's
different.
completely different.
Well, it does have different curves.
Lordy.
Should we skip it? No, I think we have time.
I don't know. You tell me.
I think I can put it right there, maybe. So this is a Les Paul Gibson, isn't it? This is really kind of a jazz instrument in a way. I did take guitar lessons briefly because I wanted to be able to play like Robert Johnson. And we had so Jack and I started taking guitar lessons together. This is before he was a drummer. He was probably like 9 or something. We had a really good guitar player. I mean, a good guitar teacher. But then, unfortunately, he fell in love with some woman in Austin, Texas. And one day he was like, dudes, I'm really sorry, but I'm in love with this woman and I'm moving to Austin, Texas. And
Peace out.
I'm like, what? But it was sort of, I guess it was a romantic thing. It was better than if he was like, I got a job working at Intel and I'm going to be going to do that.
The things we do for love.
Yes, so because of that, Jack and I did not become famous blues musicians.
Well, that's good because we need both of you to be artists.
Yeah. The path not taken. it's sort of like a gramophone of a guitar, you know? It's like, it's not slick tech. It's very almost analog technology, this thing.
I mean, how many strings does this baby have?
It's 6 strings.
Is it?
Yeah, look at the keys. It has 6.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
6 things at the top.
The frets.
Yeah, I just never really could. I mean, I made a video about this week about practice. Maybe you guys saw it, but I talked about how incapable I seem to be of learning a musical instrument because I hated practice, which it turns out is kind of an important part of the whole thing.
The single most important thing in art and musicianship. And sports.
And learning a language.
And cooking.
What about looking good? I think looking good is a pretty important part of being a musician.
Good is subjective.
Gotta have that look.
Good is subjective.
This guitar also has kind of a fade effect in the varnish or whatever.
Yeah, ombre.
Ombre, yeah. You know what Les Paul sounded like, right?
Yeah.
What was the name of the woman he played with? Mary Ford. They had some very big hit records in the 50s that were basically jazz. Yeah, see, this is a different experience than drawing that bass. I was right. I'm glad that we drew both. I hope you are too.
I mean, they both turned out nicely, and they do look different.
Yeah. Okay.
Woof, woof.
We have time for, I think, 2 more.
And that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Okay, so this, I would be a liar if I said I didn't. And I don't want to harp on about this.
A liar.
So
in my family, my sister played the harp. She still has.
She has 2 harps in her house.
She has this concert grand harp, which is so beautiful, but it takes up quite a lot of room.
It is a really cool looking instrument, though. Like, I wonder why it's so.
Jen is asking, is English beat ska? I would say yes.
Yeah.
I would say adjacent.
It was called two-tone. Was the kind of school of.
But that's definitely your brand of music.
That was what was popular when I was a youth.
Yeah, the heyday.
But yeah, the harp is just a really, really beautiful piece of furniture, really. Well, it isn't your sister's house. That's basically all it is.
Yeah, it has like a number of broken strings because I don't think it's been attended to for quite some time. You know, recently she talked about maybe getting rid of it.
Now that she finally has time to play it.
I think she fell into it like in high school. There was a teacher at her high school that kind of took her under the wing, and you know, that's really what it comes down to. Like sometimes you as a young person get a great teacher who influences you, and can't be overstated how important that is.
Your family is pretty musical overall, though. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would say. I think
that's
it was
important too.
Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, I think maybe me. I mean, taking piano lessons was not. It was mandatory. Like it was not my choice. But I think
Did your dad play the piano?
no. I mean, my dad.
I guess your mother does.
My dad. He did not have a wonderful childhood. He like started working as like a newsie when he was about 5 years old. So I think that's part of the reason why they wanted their kids to have these opportunities. They were born at the end of the Depression and lived through World War II, and neither of them had families that had much. And I mean, I think my dad's mother had him when she was 15. Yipes. So he had to be like the little man of the house kind of pronto.
No time for harp lessons.
No time for harp lessons. In the end,
get out there and...
that was not a skill he obtained.
I like that it has these little pedals on it.
Yeah, just like a piano.
It basically is like a dismantled piano.
Yeah. I mean, in fact, when I did have some mastery over the piano, I could attack the harp and figure out how to pluck out a song that I knew.
Really?
Not well, but like it is the same chording, and it was possible.
Really?
Yeah.
But could you draw one?
Absolutely not.
I think I got every single string correct. Well, I'm basing this on the one in your sister's house where all the strings are broken.
I would say the one in my sister's house is even prettier than this reference. It's like really got an immense amount of like gold leaf all over it, and it's just stunning.
So we had a friend in New York whose sister was a professional harpist, and she played in a lot like Broadway shows because they often used it in the Broadway show, and but she would have to schlep this thing around. And there was like a special musical service, like a moving service, that would deliver the harp to the theater. She'd have to take it home, I think, every day or something. But imagine carrying the thing around. It's like a giant piece of furniture. It'd be as if you played an armchair. All right, we've got one left.
Can you do it? Can you land the plane?
I do. I just have to get this cramp out of my thumb.
I don't think you're going to have time for watercolor, babes.
That might have to be a private experience later on. I don't even remember what the last one is.
Oh, I do.
You do? Okay.
It was the one I requested.
Ah. Yeah. Well, you had requested a tuba that I wasn't able to find. But this is like a French horn. So... yeah, but I think that'll fit perfectly here in this corner. French horn is a nice instrument. It's the one that you stuff your hand into, right?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I think there's a damper in there.
Tuba. I mean, tuba's not really an orchestral instrument, is it?
Sure it is.
It's not just in bands?
No, it's absolutely a part of an orchestra.
You know, when I was a kid, one of the records that I owned was Tubby the Tuba. Did you ever listen to that record?
No.
Have you never heard of it?
No.
You've never heard of Tubby the Tuba?
I have not.
Second-rate education, didn't you? So Tubby the Tuba...
Maybe I'm a little bit younger than you are.
It precedes my birth. Okay?
Oh, I see. Okay.
It was made by Danny Kaye.
I mean, that's the kind of brand my parents were into, so maybe it subliminally have ingested it and I'm just not aware of it.
It's the story of a depressed tuba who kind of can't find his place in the orchestra.
I see.
And then he meets a bullfrog.
Oh, dear.
The bullfrog teaches him a melody that becomes kind of his catchphrase, and he becomes like, the orchestra is delighted by him. But at first they mock him.
They mock him?
Yeah, because all he can do is make a kind of depressed boom, 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 boom. And whenever he is handed the melody by the conductor, he crushes it. Not crushes it in that it's good, crushes it is in that he sits on it.
He blows it.
Yeah, it's like, so it's sort of a record that's kind of about teaching kids the musical instruments of the orchestra.
I see.
So you hear all the different instruments interpreting this melody that the frog has taught him. I think it's quite sweet.
It sounds lovely. And a few people have acknowledged that they're
fans?
Yeah, they remember it fondly. My loss.
I'll play it for you this weekend. It was a single. It's not like it happens to be on one side of a record, but I think we have time actually for me to tell the story of this record if you I'm not going to go on too long. But so this is a weird story. When I was little, I lived with my mother and my father, and then my parents got divorced and whatever. And I didn't see my father for many years. But one day when I was 12 or so, I was watching TV and this movie came on called Hans Christian Andersen. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
Okay, so it's with Danny Kaye also. And it's a musical. I think Lerner and Lowe maybe wrote the music. But when this thing came on, I'd never seen it before, and I knew the words to every single song. Every single song. Like I knew every lyric perfectly. It freaked me out because I knew I'd never seen this movie before. And yet somehow I knew these songs. And it just, I had no explanation for it until a couple of years later, I went to visit my father in England, and he gave me this record, and he said, this was your favorite record when you were 3, and it was the soundtrack to Hans Christian Andersen. And I had listened to it over and over and over again.
Like in your crib?
Yeah, and the songs had become embedded in my mind, and on the other side of the record, there was Tubby the Tuba.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
That just goes to show you something.
Well, so let's see your whole page. You got to zoom out.
I know.
This masterpiece. I mean, I have to say, I am impressed what you've accomplished today.
Wow.
I mean, you often impress me, but this is even extra. I mean, you really got like a likeness on every one of these, and
couldn't have done it without you.
It's a very cool page. Did you? Oh, I was going to say that I still have a lag with the reference. Oh, it looks absolutely amazing.
Good, thank you. Yeah, we managed to get it all done 5 minutes per piece. 5 minute, five easy pieces. 5 pieces.
There's nothing easy about what just happened here over the last hour.
Yeah, so now I think a little bit of watercolor could be nice.
Are you going to do lettering maybe?
Some lettering, yeah. So I think I'll do all that because we're running out of time. I might do all that. So if you want to do that too, you might want to add in, or you could just do the whole thing with just tone, just like like a little bit of an ink wash to add some tone in. Like that piano could really benefit from that. So could this good thing. So yeah, there we have it. Pretty good. So let's wrap things up. Are you ready to go?
I mean,
Anything else to say?
no, I think
I haven't looked at the comments the entire show.
no, people are like, wow, those are really good.
Cool. All right. So
You did a hard thing first thing in the morning. Now the rest of the day is going to be smooth sailing.
Got the blood rushing. So thank you to the members for coming up with this. I can't remember whose idea it was. There was one particular person who came up with this.
somebody lobbed it out there, and then a lot of people said, I love it, and we said I love it, and now you guys love it. It's love all around.
Right. So thank you. So if you want to become a member, it's really an inexpensive thing to do, and you're supporting the channel, and you get to come to an additional draw with me on Wednesdays, and you get to come up with a topic. So if you've always wanted to say, you know what, you guys should be drawing, I don't know, toads, all toads, different species of toads.
And we should mention Wednesdays we broadcast in the afternoon our time. So if the time zone is a challenge for you, it gives you another option.
Yeah, so that's 4:00 in the afternoon is when we do the Wednesday one.
4:00 Pacific
time. So if you can't make it in the morning and you're watching this recording, think about joining. And all you have to do is click join and sign up. We want to see your musical instruments, so please make sure that you tag us by posting this on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, or in the schoolyard, and put hashtag SBS Draw with me. And then you will become part of next week's orchestra procession. Speaking of marching bands, that will be like a virtual marching band, right?
Yeah, that'll be fun.
What else?
That's it.
Danny'sEssays.com. I write an essay every Friday.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
I'm trying to remember what I wrote about this week. It's been a busy week with all this stuff going on around our house, but it was a pleasurable experience writing it, so maybe you'll enjoy reading it too. I send them out every Friday. Subscribe to this channel. Just give us a thumbs up, the usual. And we will see you again, possibly on Wednesday, definitely on Thursday, and that's about it.
And it'll be April.
It'll be April.
Wow.
April Fool's Day. Is it April Fool's Day?
Oh, geez. I don't
know. I think it's after April Fool's Day.
It is next Thursday will be April the 3rd.
Okay, so April 3rd's Day.
So we'll see you next month.
See you then. Bye-bye.